Huge drama happening. Our good friend of the show, Loserbox, was close to talking to me, I think. But then he's like, I need a good faith critique first. So he must look at something here first, and then maybe he goes back to it. I think, or is it earlier? It's earlier. This is the second part. So yeah, Loserbox is doing this gay-ish. He's like, "You're being bad faith. You're being bad faith." It's like so just queer. I just can't take it. I can't take it. But we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna go over it. What do I want to say to open this segment? What do I want to talk about? I feel like I should lay some stuff out first. I feel like I should talk about my opinion on the Iran thing. That's relevant here. So this disagreement, guys, here is over Lonerbox's appearance on H3 podcast, mainly. Okay. He went on there, and Ethan is obviously like pro the strikes, basically. He's like doing everything but saying this is awesome and I support it. And the only hesitation that's like discussed really is that it's Trump and Hegseth doing it. Now, there are some sort of flashes of other considerations coming through from Lonerbox, but certainly not from Ethan. And he said, Lonerbox says at one point, "Oh, I would, that's probably the biggest problem with it. So I would support it. I think he says he would support it if it wasn't Trump and Hegseth doing it." And basically, I'm like, well, that's retarded. You shouldn't support this just because it's from a Dem. And then I say that in a very long, extended way, where I'm being entertaining for stream. I'm talking at length, and Lonerbox hates that. And then I say, I don't think Lonerbox actually thinks that. I feel like Lonerbox must think that the operation would be just entirely different under a different presidential executive team. And he would not, it's not that he would support this action from a different president. It's that there's some formulation of the idea of intervening in Iran that he would support, but just nothing like this. But at no point is he actually laying out what those conditions would be. And he's not really got a whole lot of energy for the criticism of this action, because fundamentally he does kind of just agree with it. So I guess, I'll talk about when I would think it would be justified. Obviously, the biggest issues with the strikes right now, there was no imminent threat to Israel or the United States, so there's no reason for them to strike, just like in self-defense reasoning. They have not pursued a UN Security Council resolution approving use of force, and the United States have not, Congress has not approved it. So none of the democratic process or international process has been followed, and there's no imminent threat. Now, there are cases where that's not quite, those criteria are not quite fulfilled, and we still support intervention. The one everyone brings up, obviously, is Kosovo, because there was not actually a UN Security Council resolution authorizing use of force before the intervention in Kosovo, making it technically illegal. However, that was after, the intervention was still after like a year of other resolutions through the UN and Security Council condemning the violence, calling for an end, ordering them to stop, bringing there were like these huge peace talks between Russia, what was called the contact group, which is like Russia, the UK, US, France, I think someone else, that did negotiations between the Kosovo Liberation Army, or whatever the fuck it's called, and the Yugoslavs. And basically the KLA signed up to this deal that would have NATO peacekeeping forces in the area to stop everything, and the Yugoslavs wouldn't. So basically, it got to the point where the only way they could intervene would be with a Security Council resolution, and Russia and China were likely to veto it. So they just had to act. And it's like, yes, that's illegal, but the phrase was illegal but legitimate, because every other option had been exhausted, and it's just by any metric, any moral analysis, absolute action had to be taken. That's not the case here. That's not the case here. It just simply isn't. There has been, like, almost no attempt. There have been these, like, show negotiations recently where the US was clearly negotiating in bad faith. I believe, I could be wrong on this. Jay Stook told me this, so if this is wrong, it's his fault. My understanding is they basically wanted Iran to not even have, like, civilian nuclear enrichment, like nuclear enrichment for power. They wanted them to basically get the power for their nuclear stations from America, be totally dependent. Which is, like, even further than the JCPOA went. Like, and just totally crazy. It's almost like, you know, if that's again, I don't know if that's 100% true. I haven't fact checked it, and to be, I'm not gonna do it right now. But, like, that is actually giving over, like, you know, that's basically giving over sovereignty of a country, really. If you're just, like, saying, yeah, I'm going to be energy reliant on the US, they have to give me the handouts. So, yeah, totally crazy. So all options have not been exhausted. It's like totally absurd. So here's my issue, right? When Lonerbox says, I would support this, I would probably support this, whatever he said. I would probably support this if it weren't Trump and Hegseth. It's like, yeah, can I imagine a version of Iran intervention that I support? Yes, I can imagine a version of Iran intervention I support. But to say you would support this from anyone else, there's, like, almost no aspect of this that I support, right? So only in the sense that there is some world in which Iran intervention is justified and a good idea, where the timeline preceding and the plan following are, like, absolutely 100% different to how they are in reality. Yes, maybe I would support it. But then you're sort of not really saying anything. Then you're really kind of just not fucking saying anything. You're just saying you really don't like the Ayatollah and you think they've done bad shit recently that should be stopped. And it's like, yeah, fair enough. Slaughtering tens of thousands of protesters is pretty fucking bad. But they didn't go in to stop that, did they? They let that happen. They said, Iranian people rise up, and then gave the regime a month and a half to slaughter them, systematically track them down and slaughter them. Yeah, exactly, Orange Blonde. It becomes vacuous. It's like all Lonerbox is saying is that he supports intervention as a concept. It's so worthless. Like, what the fuck are you actually saying? So let's see. Maybe Lonerbox lays out his opinion more clearly. I can have a more good faith critique. A good faith critique that Lonerbox wants.
Okay, might as well do this slop.
Of course, that's
Kuihman, friend of the show. Used to rate him quite a bit. Had some talks. Not particularly interesting. Kind of restrained. Would you call what the Marine protesting in the Senate is?
I thought they were
interesting.
interesting. I thought they were pretty interesting when you were calling Ethan a Zionist, despite the fact there's been a multi-year-long drama that you've sucked his dick off for the entire time. It's entirely built on the fact that people were quote-unquote unfairly calling him a Zionist. I thought that was quite an interesting conversation, personally. I thought it was an interesting conversation when you said it was anti-Semitic to be against Israel as an ethno-state. Oh, it was quite an interesting conversation. But I'm sure just saying those things alone is enough for this to be a bad faith critique, even though those things literally happened exactly how I said they did.
Arm broken. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I just know they got their arm broken. Okay. I don't know. Someone sent me this. I pre-watched a bit of it. it's not the first time I've seen him kind of doing little segments on me, or quite often segments that don't go on to his actual channel segments. Like they just stay in the stream VOD and not many people see them. I just didn't really like. I know the kind of pattern he engages in when he does this. I just didn't really think it was worth covering. But I thought in the current context that might be interesting. Do you have a chat replay here? That'll be fun.
Like, well, dude, I don't even know what this guy's trying to say. This is the thing, man. This is one of my pet peeves of Lonerbox. This guy's got like the same perverted victim mindset as Destiny, where he thinks like everyone's out to get him. It's like the way he's saying that. So there's these like stream segments that like don't end up on the main channel. Like no one's hiding them, bro. So where the fuck do I upload it? I have a second channel where I do dry actual politics stuff, usually doing a proper segment with my cam on and shit. And I have my main channel where I do drama slop shit. Lonerbox coverage doesn't fit neatly into either. So it doesn't get uploaded. And usually it's not a full segment either. And you see this with him many times. Like he had a whole thing where he was like cracking down on Discord splinter servers. He's like, I've got to do my Night of the Long Knives on my mod team and get rid of all the snarker splinter Discord servers. And it's just like it is the taking shit way too deep that I see from sadly so many people.
Let's see what he has to say about my thoughts.
It is alone coded.
You can tell me if you think this guy is like good faith critic or not, but
it sounds like that's not necessarily true when you
guys
if you analyze
it's so crazy. I literally can't take it. It makes me gag. It makes me gag hearing this F/ say this shit. Is this a good faith critic? Is this a good faith critic? What do you mean by that? I'm saying what I think. What does good faith and bad faith mean other than you say what you think and don't lie about what the other person thinks? That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Do I say it in a mean way? Yes. Do I use personal attacks? Yes. Is that bad faith? I wasn't aware it is. I was not aware of that. If that's the case, I was not aware of it. My understanding was that this was an entertainment medium. And that if someone wanted to get dry, reliable political analysis, they would read a fucking article. And that my job was to present my thoughts, opinions, and information I've collected in an entertaining way. Oftentimes inflammatory to attract attention. But at the moment, it's like, there are people you can do this with. Like, me and Chud can do this, no problem. Me and J-Stalk can do this, no problem. Then you get people like Lonerbox and Nick Diorio, and it's like, or Hutch. They're being bad faith to me. They're being bad faith to me. They're being toxic and bad faith to me. It's a fucking live stream, dude. It's a fucking live. It doesn't have to be the end of the world, bro. It doesn't destroy the criticism that someone's making personal attacks in between. And it shouldn't. It's the fucking internet. But I don't want to be like, oh, COD lobbies, you know, you're on the internet, bro. I don't want to do this retarded shit, but come on. Thank you, but I disavow. They don't do banter in Scotland.
everything on the whole.
It doesn't have to be worse. It could be. It could be worse in the sense that one outcome potentially is the Ayatollah is gone, but then there's the youth of the IRGC who are easily the most indoctrinated.
So Lonerbox has actually, so for all the good, oh, you're being bad faith to me. You're being bad faith. He's actually come in very late on this segment, I notice. And I believe we're going to miss out the part of this here, where basically I say that the point that's being made here is Lonerbox is like entertaining the idea that there could be a good outcome, right? I might even have to go back and find it. But Lonerbox is like, yeah, there could be good outcomes. There could also be really bad ones. And he's laying out the bad one here. But they've missed out the part where the whole intro into this part of the conversation is talking about the idea that, oh, this could go well. And you're about to hear me basically say, there's no reason, there is actually no reason to think this is going to go well, to think this is going to suddenly get better. There is no reason to believe that. So let's see.
Most radicalized faction of the entire Islamic Republic. They're the youngest generation, and they're more radical and more hardline than...
I'm sorry, but it's already worse. I don't think it's going to get better. And you're like,
Lonerbox reinforces
retarded
negative
coping like this.
stereotypes
Like, you sound like
for
a
all of
retard
us
coping
SSRI
like...
users. Watching him makes me feel like tripling my dose, ironically enough.
So I get the feeling Lonerbox get very personally upset. And I am calling him a retard, but I'm also saying Ethan's a retard. And Ethan is doing more of the retardation here. But Lonerbox comes on, and Lonerbox says, yeah, it could go well. We might even pull the quote up in a minute if this becomes relevant. I haven't seen the whole... I haven't seen any of this Lonerbox reaction yet. But yeah, basically, the point here is, you sound like a retard if you're seriously entertaining the idea of, like, we're heading towards a free Iran. If you are seriously entertaining that possibility right now, you sound retarded. I don't think that should be controversial. Like this. Even just to me, it's like clear what's happening. And it could be the situation changes. But there is no evidence that that is going to be the case. There is no reason. There is nothing we're being shown right now that should lead you towards thinking that. Trump is saying the Shah's not fit. It should be someone inside the country. That's what Trump has said. They've also indicated they might want someone from the existing regime. They said they had guys they wanted to, or looking at taking over. Israel's objectives obviously do not line up with Iran being like a free, prosperous, democratic nation. They line up with Iran being a balkanized, ruined, failed state that can never hope to accumulate the economic power to fund a nuclear program. So there is nothing we're looking at right now that indicates, oh, this is going to suddenly get better and result in a free Iran. So to present it as a possibility, to sit there and do the fanfic about it, the theorizing that this is going to happen, it does make you look retarded. Happened here. The US and Israel already destabilized the country and the regime with the initial strikes on Fordo and all that shit earlier. 6 months ago, whenever. That already weakened the regime. There's been a swelling of support for an opposition, partly due to American and Israeli interference and incitement. US state officials, former state... this is even a bad example for me, to be honest. Like the Pompeo shit about the Mossad marching with protesters. Like, that's true. He did say that shit. But Trump was out there tweeting and posting on Truth Social, like, on January 13th or some shit, like, rise up, Iranian people, rise up and take your country. Like, they were literally outright just, they were inciting as if they were going to help. And he's, like, saying, like, oh, yeah, don't kill the protesters, and they do nothing. They do nothing to stop it for weeks. Officials are say openly, was that Huckabee, I think, or Pompeo, one of them, said openly, good luck to all the Iranian protesters and all of the Mossad agents. Sorry, guys, I need to step away for a drink. Literally 2 seconds. I'm just going to leave this pause because I don't want to miss anything Lonerbox says. Okay? So just 1 second. Yeah, I'm back. Marching alongside them. They say this openly. They have fomented the resistance, the opposition.
How does that even work? So first of all, I don't know if he's forgotten, but you know Iran deals with urban uprisings or protest uprisings like all the time. Like every few years, they're having to go through another round of quelling and murdering protesters in the hundreds. Even before there was the hijab protests in 2022, I think before that, there was whatever one where they ended up massacring like 500 people. There, 2009.
Literally, Commodore Chomp, that is an easy 30 minutes at least. When I literally said, I'm going AFK for 1 minute. Fucking retard.
Was one before that where they were still trying to hold on to this idea of reformism, which has obviously completely died now because the reformists have been in power for a good while, at least in the presidency, and they haven't really delivered. What what are we saying here? The protesters don't necessarily need a push from.
Yeah, my point is that when you push, which America and Israel did, you in some way almost incur part of the responsibility, you know? If you're going to go out there and say, come on, Iranian people, rise up, Ayatollah, don't you dare kill them, don't you dare, oh, it's going to be real bad for you if you kill them, and then you let them all die, you've incurred some responsibility for that. That's the point.
Like, how much of a push do you think Mossad are giving them? Yeah.
It's not to say that the Iranian revolution or Iranian opposition is manufactured, fake. It's not to say they don't really think it and Mossad have just come over and made a fake revolution. No one's saying that. No one's saying that. It's about the responsibility that the US and Israel incur for encouraging behavior that benefited them, led to the deaths of those people, and they did nothing about it. They have incited it.
That's just, I don't know why he's pretending to understand like the complexities of somewhere like Iran, but that's just, I don't know why he's saying that. Like,
I don't know why you're pretending to understand anything. Like, can this guy do anything without the fucking smarmy, queer? Like, he sounds like a leftist. Do you read books? Do you read books? It's like, give it a fucking rest, bro. Give it a fucking rest. If I don't understand something, then point out where the gap in my understanding is. But if you're not contesting the conclusion or the argument in any reasonable way, then it seems like I understand perfectly well enough to make the claims I'm making.
They're like mental to think that there is not at least one outcome of this that could actually be better for Iran. It's not like it would be the first ever US intervention in a country where the regime is already insanely unpopular that didn't result in something better. That's obviously it's unstable now.
But what fucking point is he making here?
To think that that's just, I don't know why he's pretending to understand like the complexities of somewhere like Iran, but that's just, I don't know why he's saying that. Like, is that like mental to think that there is not at least one outcome of this that could actually be better for Iran? It's not like it would be the first ever US intervention in a country where the.
Wow, yeah, Lonerbox. No one's saying there's not a theoretically, logically possible outcome that could be better for Iran. Yes, Lonerbox. If I sit here, Doctor Strange, timeline analysis, yes, there is at least one. There is at least one where it's better for Iran. I would say that, Lonerbox, yeah. What a fucking stupid, vacuous point to make. Seriously. What a fucking stupid, vacuous point to make. Obviously, what I'm saying is there is no reasonable evidence that would reasonably lead you to the conclusion that it's going to be better for Iran, or it's likely to be better for Iran. That's a likely outcome. That's a plausible outcome. You know, it may be logically possible, but I don't see it as particularly plausible. Okay, to borrow from Pisco. Yeah, I just thought that's totally reasonable. And Lonerbox's like, oh, you really think there's no world where it could possibly... No, I can see that it could possibly. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think you sound like a retard sitting there going, oh, well, maybe there's one world where this would actually turn out great. Here's how Bernie can still win.
Regime is already insanely...
Like that, it's like you always sound retarded doing this stuff. Make your analysis based on what is reasonable, likely, plausible. Not what's possible. Not what you think might be possible. It's like the same stupid shit that fucking JubeTube idiot fucking Persian was doing on J-Stalk's stream the other night. Going like, oh yeah, but don't you think it's possible that Reza Pahlavi could just like walk in and take over?
Popular. That didn't result in something better. That's obviously it's unstable now because there's still a war going on. I think even in this show, didn't I say that, like, I'm even saying here that one of these outcomes is that the IRGC youth takes over and they are worse.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lonerbox, you've cut off the start of the segment, so you actually don't know what I'm saying here. So that's unfortunate, Lonerbox.
That's probably the most likely outcome. I have no idea what is happening with how many defectors they think they have or what the regular army is going to do. But to suggest that, like,
very bad faith critique from Lonerbox. I'm still willing to talk to him though.
Can only get worse. I don't know what
You're a total pervert if you say this bad faith shit, by the way. Literally, we're just shaming people for this now. You're literally a fucking pervert if you say this shit.
particular piece of information he's sitting on that makes him so sure of that, but okay.
They have encouraged it. They have led the Iranian people up to the precipice and then allowed tens of thousands of them to be slaughtered at the hands of the Islamic regime. And then
remember, the protesters were already out en masse before Trump said help is on the way. Help is on the Trump thing was disgusting, and we've talked about that a billion times, but
I'm not saying the whole protest was Trump or the whole protest was Mossad. I'm saying that when you encourage and incite, you incur some responsibility. It's disgusting that you then go and leave those people to die.
Out en masse. They were still out en masse. There was still going to be that crackdown. Okay.
Responding to a clip chimp, awful stuff. Well, he's not responding to a clip chimp. What's actually happened is he's been seething over this VOD offline, just pre-watched it, and hasn't found the start again because he was midway through it. And that's why he's covering it on stream, because much like his Discord Splinter service, he just can't stop thinking about it.
Fuck.
To that, they have illegally bombed all of their leaders with no plan for a replacement, leaving the country destabilized and rudderless, lashing out at other countries around them, drawing attention, drawing aggro.
Is he blaming the Israel and the US for the regime killing their own? I mean, if I was being bad faith, or if I was jumping to conclusions, or not.
If you're a fucking retard, it's not a matter of being bad faith or jumping to conclusions. If you're a fucking retard, because even if you were being bad faith, you would have to be fucking retarded to try to pass that off as what I'm saying here, when it's clearly not.
If I was trying to avoid looking for a better explanation, it would sound like that, but I don't know.
It's already worse. It's already worse.
But I don't know why saying it's already worse. What, because they murdered maybe upwards of 10,000 of their own people? I don't know why that's saying that's... Because that's not... Like, Trump takes responsibility for emboldening protesters who were already on the street. I don't know how Trump takes responsibility for... I don't know how Trump takes responsibility for the regime killing them, or for the protesters starting in the first place.
So you don't take responsibility for the regime killing them, nor do you take responsibility for them starting. You take responsibility for your actions, which is encouraging them and promising help, and then not delivering when they get killed. That's what they have responsibility for. Hope that helps. Hope that helps. I understand Lonerbox, like, I guess he's had a severe head injury recently. Struggling with this one. But yeah, you have responsibility for your actions.
I don't know how that works.
Already gotten tens of thousands of people killed. If you were going to do this, act with a plan, decisively, and help the Iranian people.
Isn't that my position that I articulate in this?
What they have done is No, Lonerbox actually barely articulates a position at all. He sits there desperately trying not to offend Ethan Klein for the entire time, like every time he goes on there to tap dance like a fucking house, you know. You actually didn't lay out much of a fucking opinion at all, Lonerbox. You never do on that show. Sold them out. They have just sold them out. And it is so obvious. It is so obvious to anyone with fucking eyes. But Lonerbox... So regardless, anyway, it's not even just about the plan. It's not even just about the plan. I'm saying there, if you wanted to do this successfully, right? That's what I'm saying there, right? I'm not saying this would be justified just with that. Because this is what my concern is that Lonerbox's position, and this is like the good faith version, the ultra good faith version of the thing he's going to call bad faith in a bit, okay, at the end of the segment. I think at the end of the segment. The idea that if it was Trump and Hegseth, if it wasn't Trump and Hegseth doing it, he would support it. And my concern, my worry, the thing I'm really condemning from Lonerbox here, is the idea that he would support Dems doing roughly this as long as it was done well. I wouldn't support that because they have not exhausted the available international options. They have not been through the Security Council. There's been no statements on stopping the violence, on protecting the protesters, or anything from the UN Security Council. It hasn't gone to Congress. There's just not been any effort to justify it whatsoever. And my concern is, based on things I've heard Lonerbox say and defend in the past, is that he basically just thinks it's fine to just go around doing these decapitation strikes without really putting it to the international community. He seemed to support it in Doha. Goes on H3 and says, no, this isn't like failures, and it could still be good.
Potentially is the Ayatollah is gone, but then there's the youth of the IRGC who are easily the most indoctrinated, most radicalized faction of the entire Islamic Republic. They're the youngest generation, and they are more radical and more hardline than the first Ayatollah, than the second, than anything. And that's actually partly why they've managed to. It was quite easy for them to crack down on protesters because these young security officers are just very, very willing to do whatever it takes to keep the regime in power. There is a chance that they survive the airstrikes to a degree that they can. That they can establish some kind of military dictatorship over Iran, which is worse than what we currently have. But it could also go particularly well, right? You could have defectors from the army.
Here we go. So literally, he was like, aren't I literally saying here how it's going to be worse? And it's like, it could also go better. It could also go better. Yeah, there's no reason to think that's the case, though.
The Basij, like the security forces, you could have protesters who are able to overwhelm. I do wonder, actually, is he trying to say that the protests were inspired just because of the 12-day war, because that exposed the regime and showed their weaknesses? Is that's what he said earlier, right? That doesn't even make as much sense either, though, because
no. I think that played into it. I think it'd be crazy if that didn't play into it. But no, obviously it's not just because of the fucking 12-day war or just because of Trump. But all of these are factors. No? Is that fucking crazy to say? I think that's totally reasonable. Obviously, yeah, the strikes last year. Was it last year or was it? When was it? I don't even know. It wasn't last year, was it? No, it was earlier this year. Dude, I'm losing track of time. Or was it last year? 11 months ago. Jesus. 6 months ago? I've lost track of time, dude. I've lost track of time. Anyway, yeah, I think obviously that played a role. I do think that played a role. I do think making the regime look weak is going to make the oppositional population more likely to rise up. I don't think that's controversial. I think it's crazy to say.
The economic crisis that happened in Iran is largely being attributed there to the snapback sanctions. But the snapback sanctions were...
Well, yeah. And the sanctions have created conditions that are unlivable. Well, not totally unlivable, but you know what I mean? Pretty bad conditions for the average person. That makes them more discontent with the government as well. There's a lot of reasons, I'm sure. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of factors here. But I'm making the statement. I'm not making the statement that any of these are determinative. I am saying that Trump holds responsibility, and the US and Israel and the Shah hold responsibility for egging those protesters on with the promise of help and not delivering. That played into them getting killed. If they had helped, they may not have been killed. Now, even though I don't know that help at that point would have been justified, but hey, that would have been better.
Seemingly going to get imposed one way or the other, because they weren't imposed by America. The snapbacks came from the European powers, because the European powers, France, Germany, the UK, they were still part of the JCPOA. And when it became very clear that the IAEA was seeing very, very fucked behavior from Iran with the 60% nuclear enrichment, when they were seeing that, they instigated the snapback sanctions because they were about to expire anyway. So they saw plenty of violations on their end. Like the JCPOA still did exist. It's just that America wasn't part of it anymore. So I don't know if we're going to blame them for it. Are we going to blame our own country and France and Germany? Because those were the new sanctions that came in between the 12
It's not about blame. Like, I don't know what is this fucking retard saying? Does he think I'm like bigging up the Iranian regime? Does he think I'm like pro IRGC or something? What does he think's going on here? Do you think I'm saying, oh, the Iranian people would love the Ayatollah if it weren't for these Western powers putting sanctions and making them manipulating them against Islam? You think that's what I'm saying, Lonerbox? You some kind of fucking retard?
War in today. Are we going to blame them for destabilizing Iran? And I don't know if he's suggesting that they should have maybe got involved when the protesters were actually out there in full and before the firing happened. But then the issue there is they didn't have the means. You know how Trump had to, like, how America was deploying all of that shit over to the Middle East in the past few weeks before the strike. So you can say it was
my position is not that they should have done it then. They shouldn't have done it at all. They should have gone through the proper channels. They should have made attempts to pursue shit through the UN Security Council. They should have gone through Congress. But it would have been better to act earlier. It would have been better. And if you can't act, then don't say you will.
missed opportunity.
Like, this is... I thought none of this is remotely controversial. No? If you can't stop, if you do not have the military hardware in position to stop the regime from killing the protesters, then do not make tweets and speeches where you say, if you kill the protesters, I'm going to use military hardware to stop you. If you can't do that for another month. Like, again, there's so many aspects here where it's just totally wrong. It's totally wrong. It's totally morally repugnant. And then the box is like, what can you do? What can you do? Are you really saying they shouldn't do this? Yeah. Yeah, I am, actually. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they shouldn't do it.
But it's quite questionable how much they could have done to help at that time as well, which is why Trump tweeting that thing out was so fucking negligent and so disgusting.
I guess he's just saying he agrees with me. Yes, it was disgusting. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Them saying help is on the way, when it turned out the only help he was referring to was some people were maybe getting Starlink. Like, that's the only thing they seem to have done. Government buildings that have been, or the government positions that have been weakened, and you can actually have Reza Pahlavi coming in and his plan working. It's a very, if it were any other president, I would completely support it, because
saying Hasbara is not anti-Semitic, but it is, you know, it's basically the same as Takia. You know, there's a lot of just fucking retards that are just saying it to mean you're lying. It's like, why are you using a special word for Jews lying or Muslims lying? You know,
it's hard to overestimate just how bad the current state of affairs is. I don't know what kind of like what ideology we have going on here. I mean, I can say, my brain wants to say tanky, but like, he actually preferred Pahlavi. If you think Pahlavi would be worse than the current regime, you are fucking retarded. You know nothing. If you think even the current regime is anything on the same, if you think the Shah, the actual, like, the big baddie dictator Shah, if you think even
he's like spurging out over Goon Squaw with the tomfoolery profile picture. I feel like this exudes a lack of confidence. I almost don't care about the political opinions in my chat, because I know, like, you know, either I'm right and everyone's gonna come around to me anyway, or, you know, I'll just adjust the little bits where I miss. You know, it doesn't. I could not give a fuck if some retard thinks that the Shah would be worse than the Ayatollah. Like, obviously, I don't agree with that. I think the Ayatollah is particularly bad, but I don't think the Shah's, like, great. I'm not, like, a huge fan of Reza Pahlavi, but there aren't any good options, really. It's like the Ayatollah, an IRGC, or Reza Pahlavi, or the MEK.
Anywhere near as bad as the regime. You know nothing. I'm sorry, you don't know anything. Okay, the Shah, for all his brutality and killing political opponents and everything, the Islamic Republic outdid him within months. Within months they set up tribunals for their political opponents and were executing more people within like a year or two than the Shah had in his entire couple of decades rule. Like fucking hell. He actually preferred yeah, of course, you fucking idiot. Jeez. Anyways, right. And people talk about destabilizing. What is it? Was Iran stable when they murdered at least 7,000 of their own people in 3 days? Like, no, not really. I mean, what is stable here?
Yeah, well, is that shit for Indians?
At some point, there does kind of need to be a change. So it's just a very real shame that you've got Trump and Hegseth leading the charge right now.
That's a good point. Yeah. They're kind of the least competent. Most cynical.
Is that what Lonerbox does this? Oh, what ideology is going on in your chat? What ideology? How have you got all these snarky tankies in your chat? And it's like you go to Lonerbox's chat or Discord, and it's like, yeah, the thing about Palestinians, they're all a bunch of I can't even say it, bro. Living in bombed out sewage, living in mud huts, in bombed out sewage, and they just can't stop fucking killing people. You give them a toilet, you give them indoor plumbing, they dig it all up to shoot rockets over the fucking border. We should just them all. We should just fucking them all. That's like the Lonerbox audience.
Presidents you could have to do it. This is a video, by the way, of when the news hit Iran that the Ayatollah was killed, just to give you an idea.
Like, you are just shilling for the strikes. Also, by the way, guys, someone tell me when Destiny goes online so I can stop watching Lonerbox. Someone tell me when my favorite streamer goes online so I can tune out of Lonerbox. Yeah, you're just shilling for the strikes.
Is he talking to the Iranians or to Ethan? Like, what should people just not show this? Is this just irrelevant information?
That's like universal rejoicing. There's like, if you were afraid that there was a lot of people that disagreed with you.
Well, no, obviously I'm aware. The US selling out, researching. Thank you for the 10 gifted. Thank you, huge appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, retards in every country support stupid shit all the time. It doesn't mean their shit's getting better or it was a good idea.
You were afraid that there was a lot of people that disagreed with you.
Well, no, obviously I'm aware. The US selling out resurgent groups in the Middle East is incredibly common. I'm aware. But it isn't just like the group, is it? It's like the people. It's like 80% of this population want their government gone, wanted the regime to fall. They had these mass protests, and then tens of thousands of them were slaughtered. And you sat there and watched. You made these gay warnings, saying, oh, if you kill those people, we're going to do something. We'll stop you. Did nothing. Watch them get slaughtered. And then when the resistance is crushed, then you kill the leader. And people are defending it.
Is this argument that they just came in too late?
No, but the way it was done is particularly egregious. No, that's not my problem. It's not that it was just too late. No, there are a million other problems with it. Before we even get to the too late part. I am describing why this is particularly abhorrent. And yeah, never lays out an opinion. Never lays out like, oh, does he really think? Does he really think? Does he really think? Say something, man. Say something.
Like you would support it if he did it during the protests? Remember, the protests had resumed. So if that's his position, the protests had resumed like 5 days before these strikes.
Yeah, like after they've had like fucking 40,000 of them fucking killed. Yes. Dude, it's not just about the protests. It's not just about the protests. Obviously, part of protests is having organized groups. Like, you have groups organizing those protests. And a lot of the people that are likely to have died in that month-long gap, in that 40,000, are going to be people that are attracting the most attention on the front lines of the protests, I would imagine, if they get gunned down, And they probably tried to track organizers down too. So a key part of this is not just that there are people out in the streets, it's that the organizers, the people that would be pushing and making the effort, the ones that put their head above the parapet the most, have now been killed. So it makes it infinitely harder for a successful overthrow attempt.
Students were back out again, but
Ethan saying like, "Oh, look how happy the people
also,
are."
I don't even think me or Ethan are defending it. Where are we getting this from?
Ethan is literally the whole way through like, "Oh well, it's not that bad, is it?" Wow, great. Wow, great. Yeah, it means so much, man. It means so much when their entire fucking organization has been like, why is Ethan bringing this clip up? Why is Ethan bringing the clip up? Ask yourself that. Ethan isn't defending it. Why is this clip being brought up?
This is unironically more dishonest and manipulative than Hassan trying to pretend he didn't shock his dog. Weaponized incredulity, BPD coded.
I hate even that drama being brought up from the other side. I just don't want to fucking hear about Hassan shocking his dog. Thank you for the $5. Thank you. Crushed. Everyone that, had any role in the fucking protests has been fucking slaughtered in the streets.
Protesters who are able to overwhelm government buildings that have been, or the government positions that have been weakened, and you can actually have Reza Pahlavi coming in and his plan working. It's a very, if it were any other president, I would completely support it, because
Right.
it's hard to overestimate just how bad the current state of affairs is, right? And people talk.
What do you mean if it was any other president, you would support it? Any other?
So I think it's obvious what I'm saying there, right? I think what I'm saying is that the overall principle, the overall idea of you give air support to protesters who were out before the airstrike started, by the way. You give air support to the protesters, you take out the regime, you take out their ballistic missiles, their nuclear threat, their
So literally with the process followed beforehand, right, Lonerbox? With like a UN Security Council resolution, preferably. With like congressional approval, preferably. Right, Lonerbox? Right? Right?
IRGC security forces, and then that allows the protesters to step in the space and reclaim their freedom. Like, that's the whole gist of the idea. And if any other president were going to make that decision, they would absolutely be weighing up questions like, are there enough defectors that we know?
See, literally, so he is espousing, it's like, unless it changes in the next few seconds, it seems like he is espousing the retarded position that I'm saying is disgusting. And then he's calling me bad faith for saying that he's thinking that. So you have the retarded position. You have the disgusting position, which is, I would support war crimes if they were done competently. Just do them well. That's what you're saying. Yeah, I'm fine with the illegal strike on this country. Just do it competently. And, obviously, like I've said earlier, like I laid out earlier, there are edge cases once all other options have been exhausted and you're in a corner and it is the humanitarian thought out plan thing to do to intervene. There are cases where something could be illegal and you still take action. Kosovo obviously being the example. But we're not there. We're not there, and you're not laying out those prerequisites. You're not laying those out in as necessary for your opinion, as for your support. You seem to pretty clearly be saying, no, you're fine with the US head of state basically unilaterally deciding. Obviously, he thinks there would be more consultation and weighing of the options, but essentially unilaterally deciding, yeah, we're going to war with Iran. I'm striking Iran because I think this regime's really bad. Without consulting, the international community, without going through the UN. Which is literally, that is the disgusting position that I'm condemning. So if that's what you think, yes, I think that you have a very disgusting position on this. And you should be treated like a Nazi. You should be like, like I say, like the German citizen that goes along with it. Because the US is the great shaitan. And if you're playing defense, you're filth.
About within the military or the IRGC to do this are the protesters like in a position where they can actually have some level of coordination? Is Reza Pahlavi's promise of 50,000 defectors actually even fucking real? What are the ramifications for the rest of the Gulf region? What's it going to do with regards to what happens to Israel and Hezbollah? Because obviously the rest of the Axis are going to want to respond in some way. Are they going to respond in a forceful way or in a kind of pathetic way? Is going to matter. There are all these questions that I don't, and obviously, are they going to justify it to the people? Are they going to go to the Congress? Are they going to go to the European powers and explain their plan and everything so that it's got like stages of approval? But obviously they haven't, which means that like it's hard to tell if this was executed on good grounds or just on nothing, on just Trump seeing a prize.
See, here's the thing. He's not stating those as pretty firm prerequisites. Obviously, like I keep laying out, I feel like I have to caveat this every single time. Kosovo, there are carve-outs. But he is not saying that's like a prerequisite. He's saying like, oh, that'd be like a good idea. But based on everything I've heard him say, it does seem like he's fine with like these unilateral decapitation strikes.
And just chasing it like a fucking child, like a fascist murdering child. Like that's kind of what I'm saying. I think that's quite clear.
No, it's not. You just say, because Lonerbox, all you say is, I would probably be in favor of this if it wasn't Trump and Hegseth doing it. That's actually not very clear, Lonerbox. That's actually not very clear. Even here, you're not particularly clear. You're not actually laying out, like, firm criteria. You're, like, leaving room. You're, like, saying, yeah, another president would probably do that. You're not saying, I would not support it unless that had happened. That's, like, the firm position that we're looking for here, Lonerbox. I do not support these attacks because they are illegal. And no, not all other options have been explored, and there was no imminent threat. But it's like very clear. You can very clearly lay out a firm position. Why do people struggle with this, man? Yeah, Hutch does too. Why do people struggle so much with laying out, this is what I think. I think this is wrong because X. I would think it was right if Y. Can we manage that? Can we manage that? I would probably be in favour if it were Tom Hegseth doing it. Not very clear, is it? Really? I agree in the sense that any other president would not have done it like this. No other president would have done it this retarded.
Yeah, obviously. But why are you shouting at me?
Not even Bush was this dumb, you know? I agree in that sense.
Okay.
But the idea that if you take roughly what has happened here...
Wait. I've already... I replayed this when I was first watching it off stream, like 5 times just to make sure I knew what I was listening to.
I've done it like this.
This is, right? It's hard to over... And I would completely...
Yeah. Why are you yelling? Because I'm projecting my voice and making it bombastic and entertaining for an audience Lonerbox, rather than sitting there and going... yeah, I suppose like lefties need to learn how to read books. I suppose like lefties need to learn how to read books. Lefties need to like learn how to read books. For my entire stream.
Be coming in and his plan working. It's a very...
The thing about comparisons is that people say one thing like another, but it's not exactly the same. Make me really upset.
If it were any other president, I would completely support it because it's hard to overestimate just how bad the current state of affairs is, right? And people talk.
What do you mean? If it was any other president, you would support it? I agree in the sense that any other president would not have done it like this. No other president would have done it this retarded. Not even Bush was this dumb, you know? I agree in that sense. But the idea that if you take roughly what has happened here, you would support it from a different president. No, this is disgusting.
What do you mean by that? Roughly from a different president? Like,
yeah. So if you take roughly the actions that occurred here, as in a unilateral decapitation strike that hasn't gone through Congress or the UN and was not, done in coordination with allies and weeks late with no on the ground, force ready to take power from the regime. Yeah, if you take roughly that and put it on another president, even if it was done slightly more competently, That would still be terrible. That would still be terrible because it's missing key elements of, that are necessary for support.
It sounds like he's suggesting that I would support the exact same actions with the same level of calculation, with the same consideration of international ramifications, just if you put a D next to it.
Yes, Lonerbox. When you say, I would support this if it wasn't Trump and Hegseth doing it, well, what you've just said is obviously an extreme, hyper-specific version. Yes, that is roughly what I'm going to take. Yes, you would roughly, these strikes from a different president, you would support. I would support it if it was anyone else. Yes, I think roughly the thing that happened here, you're saying, you would support done by someone else. Yes. Yes. So it's just like, is it necessary to Lonerbox that all other options have been exhausted, that you have gone through the UN Security Council, that you've hit that roadblock of China and Russia veto? Is going to Congress, justifying to Congress, necessary? Are these necessary? That's the question, really, it's being asked on. Because that's totally different. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. It's like a whole different strike. If it's not unilateral, if there's months of planning and discussion with the public and the international community beforehand, it's like not the same thing at that point. You're not supporting the same thing from a different president at that point, and then what you said would be wrong. It's not actually what you think.
The same behavior with Congress, the same behavior with European allies? What the fuck, man? What is this? What am I watching? What is this good faith fucking principled critique from our boy here? What the fuck?
This is disgusting. So, responding to him, he says, I would support this from anyone else. And I take that to mean someone else doing roughly these actions you would be in favor of. That's bad faith. That's bad faith, guys. How could you possibly lie and smear Lonerbox, lie about and smear Lonerbox like that? How could you possibly do that? Taking his words to mean the exact literal meaning of the sentence, with no real room for other interpretations. Because I don't say that I would agree with your position that this is that he thinks that I say I would agree with his position that I would support this from any other president. No, I'm saying I agree it would have been done better, but I don't agree that you should support roughly these actions from any other president.
And now he's just going to angrily agree with me for 5 minutes.
Involvement. Where was any consultation with the international community? No. If you would support this action from another president, you are scum. You are filth. You are just...
yeah, because if it were another president, yeah, if Biden just did the exact same thing, but just because it's Biden doing it,
even just roughly the same thing. We're saying the same action. That's what you're saying, Lonerbox. That's what you said in the clip. Maybe you don't think that. Maybe you don't believe that. You said the same thing. So we're talking about a unilateral decapitation strike. America decided, we want to intervene. We're going to go do it. Even if it was done well, still bad.
Make me happier. Do you seriously think that's my position? Is that what you think of me? What the fuck, man?
Yes, that's what I think roughly your position is, generally, yeah. I could be wrong. But based on the other attacks that I've seen him talk about, that seems to be where he's at. He doesn't really believe in international law. He's like ends justify the means on foreign policy. That seems to be the case. Like some subhuman drone, frankly, to steal a term from to steal a term from Charmhole. Okay, now I have seen this bit. I have rewatched this bit. He doesn't like this, guys. He doesn't like this.
Come on.
Like some subhuman drone, frankly, to steal a term from to steal a term from Charmhole, a liberal fascist. You are just a degenerate, westoid...
What does this have to do with fascism?
Megalomaniac who thinks you can go around the globe
execute.
Well, so the point there that I'm making is the idea that you've decided essentially that there's this group, like, you know, essentially the whole of the Middle East, that you can subjugate and punish and exploit. And you don't even have to consult even your own people about it. You know, you do it unilaterally. You do it as a you know, authoritative figure.
My man Kuihman back at the top of his game. Loner brings out your best.
Megalomaniacal,
Keep doing what you're
megalomaniacal,
doing.
megalomaniacal.
Lebanon loves
megalomaniacal.
you.
Thank you for the donut. Huge appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yo, was that a big donut? Did I just talk over it? Significant donut. Like an asshole. I did. Wow. $80 from Malaysia. Let's play that donut again. I spoke over it. Hugely appreciated. Insanely generous of you. Wait, can I not play it again? There we go.
My man Kuihman back at the top of his game. Loner brings out your best. Keep doing what you're doing. Brother. Lebanon loves you.
Thank you. Thank you. Huge appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Shooting people. Meddling in other people's countries. Without even consulting your own people. Who paid for the fucking bombs?
He's just completely riffing on it now. He's just taking that to be like, I support.
Yes, I am riffing.
Single
yes, it's a fucking live stream. Yes, I'm riffing.
thing about how Trump has done this. Just that it's not. It should be what? It should be a different face. It should just have a D next to it. That's what he's doing right now. And I know full fucking well he doesn't believe that. That's why he started saying, "Oh yeah, I agree that a different president would have done it."
No, I do. That is basically how I'm taking the statement. No, I don't think you would support literally this exact action with a D next to it. I think the way I'm reading that statement, and the way I still kind of read that statement based on the way you've been speaking here, is roughly these actions from a different president, from a Democratic president, you would support. So it doesn't matter if they've gone, I don't think to Lonerbox it matters, and I could be wrong, like I say, I don't think it's necessary that they go through the UN first to Lonerbox. I don't think it's necessary they go to Congress first. I think to Lonerbox, he is generally ends justify the means, and if this had been done in a more competent and planned way, with a day after plan and everything, he would be in favor of it. That's what I think. That's what I think. Should be totally clear. Totally clear, because I get frustrated with Lonerbox not laying out his opinion. That is clear as day, my opinion. Okay? So if Lonerbox doesn't think that's how he thinks, he can just say, I don't think that. It is absolutely necessary to me that they go through the international community and Congress. All other options must be exhausted before you do something like this.
Differently, they would have weighed the pros and cons differently. They would have consulted Congress, and they would have informed their European allies, and they would have had a much better grasp of what the potential outcomes are. And if it,
so again, he's saying informed European allies. It's not about informing European allies. You go through the UN Security Council and you push it as far as it will go until you can't push it any further because of China and Russia. That's what you do. You make the argument on the world stage. You push that forward. You try to pursue the legitimate avenue. And if it is so, if the moral crime is so abhorrent that it must be acted upon, even without that authorization, then at that point, you act. You don't just decide you're going to go do it. You don't decide you're going to go do it and inform your European allies. Fuck that. No, you go through the UN.
those potential outcomes were not favorable, if they were actually potentially weighed too destructive, he would have maybe even just not done it at all, which I would also support as a decision. I'd rather this decision was put in front of the desk of someone who can actually make that decision. Which is why I would also trust a yes from someone like Biden much more than someone like Trump. So he understands all that, but he just had to fucking pivot to this thing to, I don't know why. Liberal fascist, bro. Meddling in other people's countries, what? Like fucking Iran does. Like
they, well, Iran do it too. What are we saying, man? What is that argument? What is the argument there? Where's the tweet? Where's the deep tweet?
Stand up now and face the sun. Won't not till it's turning blood. It's time to do what must be done. Be a king with kingdom come. So you can tell his personality. Yeah, you can tell his personality.
We're so back. We're so back.
You know, like Iran antagonizes not just countries in the region. They don't just murder people in fucking
Guys, don't
Yemen.
you know Iran's really bad, guys? Don't you know Iran's really bad, guys? Don't you know Iran's really bad? That means fucking international law. Don't you know, guys?
Iraq,
man.
Lebanon,
man.
Syria. It's also America. They've attacked Americans even just in this decade. Just like
Well, Lonerbox. Maybe leave that one out. Maybe leave that one out. Not quite as compelling, that last one.
a few years ago, there have been Iranian attempts to murder journalists who are from the diaspora who disagree with them, who oppose the regime. But whatever. That's besides the point.
Oh, not okay. Stop.
Yes, that's my position.
It's just like so not. It's like so retarded. Such a non sequitur. Guys, so you know, you think it's wrong to fuck around in other people's countries without consulting the international community or going through the US Security Council at all, or doing fucking anything? Well, don't you know that Iran's really bad? Cool, man. Awesome. Wow, high level stuff. All those books doing you good, clearly, Lonerbox. All those fucking books doing you a lot of good.
Okay. Yes. If that makes you and your little fucking gaggle happy, yes. Every single thing.
Chud Logic, his orbit anchor.
This this entire operation is fucking based. If only for the fact, if only it could be done with Hillary Clinton's head on the planes. Okay.
I mean, basically,
Stupid.
no.
Fuck me.
You're like fine with these unilateral strikes. That seems to be the case. That's what you're saying. As long as it's planned well. Like, yeah, you think other people should be informed, but ultimately it's just the US president's decision. They just do it. It should be treated like you're a Nazi.
Jesus.
And Lonerbox belongs in the Tower of London because he's a fucking traitor.
No,
And Lonerbox sees that and feels upset about that. I'm not going to be like, I'm so confused as to why Lonerbox is upset by this thing that I've just said. Now, Lonerbox will say this. He'll say flying fucks about something that ends up being true. He'll sit there and bemoan and act like the fucking victim over the fact that lefties are upset with him over it. And then...
I don't think a single lefty is upset with me over this. They just see an opportunity. That's all that is. That's all that is. I don't think they're upset by it. Especially since this clip, I remember, it was me just initially saying I'm going to need more than the word of the Iranian state, which I still maintain. Of course.
Literally, does he even listen? Does this fucking retard have ears, bro? It's crazy. Yeah, I said, I don't have a problem with you saying that, but obviously the way you said it is going to set people off. When you see a girls' school get bombed, you go, they're fucking liars. It's going to set people off. And I don't think they all just see an opportunity. Yes, they are engaging a lot of the time in motivated reasoning. They already hate you. They already disagree with you, etc., etc., etc. But no, they do see it and get mad. I think they do genuinely see it and get mad at you. I think people do genuinely, like, hate you and get mad at you.
Of course you would need more than their word, like, because they do lie. They lie quite habitually, actually. But this whole clip actually even includes me getting more information, like within what, like minutes, whatever.
When Hassan does this exact same thing to Israel, he'll spend a week talking about it.
What? Give me one example, you fucking emaciated little cunt. Like, give me one example. I'm sorry, what? An example of Hassan getting a breaking news story about some great tragedy and then raking him over the coals because he says, I need more information because I don't trust this initial source. Like, what if it's like I don't consider actually Israel to be an equivalent to the fucking Iranian state.
Exactly. So there we go. Dude, he literally can't even do the cope. He can't even do the cope because I know. I can't go and find the clip. I won't even know what to search. But I know he has made almost word for word this exact point, okay? Let me try and formulate it. Because I've heard this so many times. It's how does the argument go? It's some shit about like Israel being like a relatively trustworthy, accountable Western, like liberal army type, whatever the fuck they say about it. And that if you just, the knee-jerk referring to the IDF or Israel as liars is anti-Semitic. I am almost certain. And listen, Maybe we do something. Maybe I do like I will bet Lonerbox. I'll bet Lonerbox, and then we'll get some fucking schizo to comb through his VODs and see if they can find it. If they can't find it, I'll pay up. But I'm pretty certain Lonerbox has made that argument. I am like pretty certain he's done that. I would, you know, I'd be pretty confident on that. Because I have heard that argument so many times, hearing people talk about Hassan. And I don't listen to that many people talk about it.
For a lot of reasons. It's harder to suppress information within Israel than it is in Iran. But even if he just said he needs more information, or like, I don't trust these lying fucks or whatever. And then
again, I'll caveat, I could be wrong. It could be that he's never made that argument. It could be Lonerbox literally has never made that argument. And I'll say, sorry, Lonerbox, that's totally untrue. I have an untrue interpretation of you. But I do believe he has made arguments along those lines. I do believe that pretty firmly.
Same clip shows you like 30 seconds later, he's got more information and he's adjusting his perspective. Yeah, I would rake him over the coals for that. Give me one example, bro. Fucking hell.
It's incoherent. How much would you bet on that? I'd bet like 25 quid. You know, a respectable but small bet. You know, enough money for it to be real money, but not anything that's gonna cause me any problems. You know. Incoherent. It's like the most pussy, entitled behavior from these fucking losers. The zogged out Ethan Klein dick riding crew. All have the most pussy attitudes in the world. This is the thing, man. It's like, it's totally reasonable to make the statement, I don't trust the state media of the theocratic dictatorship. Yeah. But the sparking out the moment you see this article makes you look retarded and inhuman. And you must recognize that because you would recognize it in anyone else. And that's why you're going to get flagged for this.
I don't know about people. Like, when have I popped off at someone for getting a breaking news statement that gets
so he can't even present it accurately. He keeps saying that we're getting a breaking news statement and not immediately believing it. That's not what you're being criticized for here, Lonerbox. It's not what anyone's got their fucking issue with. It's obviously the way you reacted to it, dude. It's the knee jerk. They're fucking liars and not like looking into it, right? It's like, if you're gonna, and he does look into it later, but if you're gonna do that, you need to, it's like, people want to see you immediately ready to find the truth. That's what they want. You can handle the knee jerk, they're liars, if you're ready to immediately jump into finding the truth. Otherwise, if you want to avoid people getting mad, it's best to just go, oh, I want another source to corroborate that first. As opposed to doing, they're fucking liars. Because you can imagine, Israel says there's 40 beheaded babies. Hassan goes, they're fucking liars. I don't believe that. They're fucking liars. And you might be like, whoa, Hassan. I mean, that was untrue, the 40 beheaded babies thing. It was actually like, what was it? 40 children died. One was beheaded or whatever. I can't remember. I can't remember what the actual story ended up being on that. But you get the point either way. I don't know how much of that was Israel lying and how much of that was like Biden brain deterioration. Ethan took it as fact and went after Hassan for not agreeing. Maybe that's what my brain is like pulling up in the back of my head. There are actually 2 minors killed in that kibbutz, that says Ryan Beard. I don't know how true that is. I don't know the truth of any of this stuff. I haven't looked into that attack. But yeah, I think that might be what my brain is pulling up. It's from all that time ago. I feel like I must have seen Lonerbox cover that. Someone find that. There's got to be Lonerbox coverage of Ethan going after Hassan for not believing that, right? I feel like if I would have heard him say it, it would be there.
An authoritarian state media, I'm not trusting it until they see more information. When have I ever attacked someone for that particular... Whatever.
Wow, yeah, Lonerbox. That's what I was saying in that clip. Is that you've attacked Hassan for literally the exact specific thing that happened in your exact case. Not the general same thing. You know, the knee-jerk reaction calling the other side's, you know, media a liar over some tragedy and spurring it about on stream. Like, I'm the bad faith one, guys. I'm the bad faith because I say liberal, fascist, and mean words while I'm talking about him. When these are the arguments, this is the engagement. The third timestamp about me. Oh, wow.
The Middle East and North
He
Africa.
just can't get me off his mind.
Okay, we'll fight about the Hutch thing later. Stop bitching, chat. Sorry, my chat's bitching. Stop bitching.
What are they bitching
We're
about?
gonna talk about interesting shit first. God damn.
Is it your chat or is it the Kuihman logistical infiltrators?
It's my chat. My chat's bitching because they want me to fight you about Hutchinson, but I wanted to get through the Epstein stuff first.
Okay, I did not expect Kuihman to.
Dude, this guy literally just totally raped. I don't talk about this guy. I do not cover Destiny. When was the last time I covered Destiny in any serious capacity? I barely even retweet shit about him. Let alone make actual comments myself. It's like so crazy.
Dominate the stream that much, but okay.
So, anyways, Adnan Khashoggi is an arms dealer. He deals in the Middle East and North Africa.
Just to be clear, I did that segment that I did earlier today. I just wanted to show you guys kind of why I'm a little bit disconnected from that group now. Like, I don't think there's anything valuable going on there.
Wow.
I think I spent a bit too long thinking that there was some kind of good faith critique or whatever that I could get something from, but no, just sounds.
So that's another community. 109 online communities Lonerbox has been has fallen out with through no fault of his own. Through no fault of his own. Yet another door closed, guys. Yet another door closed. Yet another friendship group lost. Yet another group on the internet that fucking hates him. Like, I don't even hate him. I what I'm saying that, but do you know what I mean? It's like, bro, get a fucking grip. Not everyone can be bad faith, okay? I understand. The only person who's not bad faith is Destiny. I get it, man. I see. Destiny and Pisco and Hutch are the only people in the world who aren't bad faith. Those are the only people you can have a conversation with. Okay, I see. No problem, man. No problem. Like, what else am I supposed to take from this? These fucking retards, these borderline... I don't even want to say it. All just want to talk to each other. They just all want to circle jerk with like the same other 3 fucking liberal fascists that agree with them. You know, they just want that endlessly. Everyone outside of that is bad faith. Every conservative is bad faith. Every lefty is bad faith. And every anti-Israel lib is bad faith. Actually. Everyone who isn't an Israel dick riding, false copyright strike, malicious copyright lawsuit, doxing supporting, pedophile lover. Everyone else who isn't that is bad faith. If you're not down with pedophiles, and you're not down with Israel, and you're not down with fucking man, whatever else they're down with, bro. Whatever else they're down with, then you're bad faith. It's so fucking absurd, bro.
Like, total fucking wank. But that's okay. They can do what they do. Hope it makes them happy.
Yeah, Lonerbox, such a vein bursting on Lonerbox's head as he tries not to call me anti-Semitic for an entire segment.
Fuck is this fucking window, hey? Because this is what makes me happy, is if I can get this window to go back into the sub windows. Why is it not doing that? Why have they disconnected? What the fuck? What? There we go. Okay. There. All right.
He's a part of the Iran-Contra affair, where Reagan and Oliver North take weapons, they sanction bust, they sell weapons, they travel to Israel because you can't fly directly to...
Well, here's the reason why they say they don't have a conversation with someone who's bad faith is because they're like, well, you're just gonna lie to try and win, and how can you ever do that? Why would you ever do that? You're in a losing position. I'm being honest, and I can't win being honest if you're willing to just lie or not engage properly. You know, if you're gonna, like some total queer loser fucking reprobate scumfuck subhuman like Nick Diorio might have a conversation where he just sits there and goes, "Oh my god, you really think, oh my god, that dude, this looks so bad," the whole time. And you might not want to talk to someone that's doing that because it's fucking insufferable. And it's just like designed to make you look bad and them look good. So you might not want to talk to someone that's just going to do that because they can just frame you that way to an audience and you just lose. You just get raped. However, you should be able to at least point out why it's bad faith. Explain how it's bad faith. How am I being bad faith when I interpret a statement, the statement, I would support this from anyone else, as you saying, roughly these actions from a different person you would be in favor of. You have to explain how that's a bad faith interpretation. You can't just go, bad faith, bad faith, bad faith, at everything. You have to explain why.
Iran. Jeffrey Epstein facilitates this with Adnan Khashoggi, and they sell the weapons to Iran. They take the cash, they put it in a black ops slush fund that then runs guns and drugs in Central and South America for counter communist operations in Central and South America.
Okay.
Then Jeffrey Epstein, well, that's actually really important, but I want to add something else about Adnan Khashoggi. He also facilitated deals, and there's a picture of him facilitating arms deals in West and South Africa as well, via something called the Safari Club, which was a financial and arms trafficking export.
Freebooting Destiny, so his audience gets to watch their favorite streamer. Very nice, very nice. I guess he stops talking about me there, though. So, wow. Let's see this clip. Let's watch this clip before I like and retweet it.
You can tell me if you think this guy is like good faith critic or not, but
it sounds like that's not necessarily true when you
guys,
if
like,
you analyze
it's so crazy. I literally can't take it. It makes me gag. It makes me gag hearing this F// say this shit. Is this a good faith critic? Is this a good faith critic? What do you mean by that? I'm saying what I think. What does good J-Stalk can do this? No problem. I'm saying what I think. What does good faith and bad faith mean other than you say what you think and don't lie about what the other person thinks? That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Do I say it in a mean way? Yes. Do I use personal attacks? Yes. Is that bad faith? I wasn't aware it is. I was not aware of that. If that's the case, I was not aware of it. My understanding was that this was an entertainment medium. And that if someone wanted to get dry, reliable political analysis, they would read a fucking article. And that my job was to present my thoughts, opinions, and information I've collected in an entertaining way. Oftentimes inflammatory to attract attention. Like me and Chud can do this no problem. Me and J-Stalk can do this no problem. Then you get people like Lonerbox and Nick Diorio, or Hutch. They're being bad faith to me. They're being bad faith to me. They're being toxic and bad faith to me. It's a fucking live stream, dude. It's a fucking live. It doesn't have to be the end of the world, bro. It doesn't destroy the criticism that someone's making personal attacks in between. And it shouldn't. It's the fucking internet. It's a dagger in my neck. You said a dagger in my neck. My friend's accused of rape and you put a dagger in my neck.